Good afternoon. I'm calling the July 18th meeting of the Park and Recreation Advisory Board to session. Roll call, please.
Oh, wait, I think Anthony's trying.
Yeah,
I think.
there we go.
Coiner. Dasso.
Oh, for 2.
Who? Kefauver. Meyer.
Here.
Peterson.
Here,
Powell.
Here.
Schertz.
Here.
Sharif. Whitmire. Here.
and that count is,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
we do have a quorum at this point, so we'll proceed with the agenda. Thank you, Anthony.
Yes.
The next item of business will be moved to our next meeting, which will be in August 15th, and that would be the approval of the May 16th minutes. And so we have no public present tonight, so we will move on to new business, which is the fiscal year 26 Park Development Program, and Chad will present.
Thank you. So you're probably wondering, why are we doing this now? Because we just did this. Just a refresher, Park Development Program is an annual CIP funded at $350,000 to fund small to medium projects within the park system. Typically in the past, we do this start this process in like October-ish, and then through the winter, through the budget process. What we've been asked to do is actually move the process forward so that we would have the final slate of projects in conjunction with the budget process and council's review in January. Typically, this would get approved in like March, April, and May. So we're starting the process sooner. So these are projects that are being proposed for the fiscal year 26. The 25-year projects, you'll see on the second page of the packet what was funded in FY 25. That money just became available. We just started our fiscal year 25, so that money just became available. So those projects are just now starting to get kicked off. So this is again planning for FY 26. What we'd like to do is have our division heads come up and walk you through each of the projects. Then the next step is we'll submit, or we send out an email to you guys with the rating link so you guys can score the projects. Once that's compiled, then council gets a crack at scoring the projects, and then we'll have a final slate for your approval sometime probably in the September meeting. And then from there, it'll move into review with the budget process, if that makes sense. So with that, excuse me. Sorry. We will start with the first project, which is an ops project. So Billy will come up and talk about baseball field improvements.
I won't say neglected, but they haven't had any love in a while. Currently, the city owns some of the bases in these parks, but some of them are owned by Little League. In the past, the Little League has rented out the fields when the public has wanted to use them. The park operations has taken that over so that we have more control over who uses the fields to make sure that the public has access to them. So we need bases for most of the fields. So this upgrade would not only buy bases, but it would regrade some of the infields. Over time, some of the infields have had from dragging the dirt the same direction from the infield, it's caused a lip between the infield and the outfield, which is kind of dangerous when a ball gets hit up the middle or between infielders. It can hit that lip and bounce up. So we need to remove the lips on those fields. We also have had a request for some of the older kids. Right now, the fields are grass all the way from the infield to the fence line. And fly balls that go deeper towards the fence, the older kids run fast enough that they can run into the fence. So there's something called a warning track, which is a 10-foot wide dirt path, as you can see in the photo here, that when the fielder's tracking the ball, he doesn't have to worry about the fence because he or she can feel the difference between the grass and the dirt. So when they hit the dirt, they know they have 2 steps before they get to the fence. So that's the idea of the warning track. It's a safety thing for the outfielders. So we're gonna add some warning tracks to those fields, certain fields, the bigger fields, which are Emice and Garfield. And then the field boxes are all rusting out. Field boxes are what we keep the bases in. Some of the umpires keep umpire gear in there, but they're rusting out, so we need new field boxes. And then just general reseeding and top dressing with topsoil in the outfields.
Do we want to wait to the end for questions, or do you want to?
Are there other items for Billy to present?
Yeah, we'll bounce back and forth. So why don't we just save questions to the end, let them get through all the projects, and then,
I'm wondering if then we can, you're up here then again and can go
Yeah,
with a number of questions if need be?
yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So the next project is Bocce Court renovations. This is a recreation project, so Teresa will lead this discussion.
Did we do these like this? Teresa Hammond, Senior Recreation Manager. The bocce ball court renovations were a suggestion by Sherry Fisher, who runs our adaptive and inclusive programs. It is to, the major thing is to improve the fields. They've just been there now, I think about 10 years, maybe, is that in there? And we have to like go all the way down to the base and redo them, but they are used for a drop-in adaptive program that I just actually wrote about that we're doing right now on Wednesdays, and we use them for Special Olympics, and she does an adaptive and inclusive league. But we also want to expand that to the general public, and with that, we would like to redo them and have them be in really good condition. We're gonna get them shaded and also put up like a board with how to play, how to get the equipment. They're really fun. I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but I highly suggest it, but maybe wait until we do the improvements.
Okay, next project is the digital sign upgrade and replacement. Oh, you probably could have done it at your seat.
I'm being equal with my peers. Hi, Becca Niles, Administrative Services Senior Manager. I am bringing forth the digital sign and upgrade and replacement project. We currently have 2 digital signs. One is at Division and 12th near the Putnam Museum on the corner there. And the other is right outside of our Annie Wittenmeyer Aquatic Center on Eastern. Both are high traffic, both pedestrian and cars, and they do get a lot of eyes on them. We have a community member that calls us every year in the spring to let us know we have not put the frog back on the digital board at the Annie Wittenmeyer complex. Every year she calls us. So we know that we get a lot of eyes. She really likes the frog. It's a digital frog, it's cute. The digital boards themselves, the signs are about 12 years old. The LED lights that are in there and the technology that's in there is obviously very outdated. It's at 19 millimeters, that's the size of the pixels. And the trend now is more in the 6 to 10 millimeters. So you're getting a much tighter, higher resolution version, and messages are more easily seen, especially in passing vehicles. This would be replacing not just both the footprints of both sides, but it would be a total of 4 digital signs because they are both double-sided so that they get views from both oncoming and across the street traffic as well. Yeah.
All right. Next project is the Emice Golf Course parking lot fence. And here comes Troy Evans.
Hi, Troy Evans, Senior Golf Manager. Now you get to see us all today. Save the best for last. All right, so, yeah, Emice Golf Course has this, a fence around it that's actually like probably 1960 as well. That, all of our city courses have a little bit of preventive measures from golf carts and people coming onto the course and coming off the course. So this project is basically to replace that old, board that's starting to rot out at the bases, with a modern material. We're still picking, a cedar material that's wooden and very traditional for golf courses. And that's just what it'll cost to just, put a new fence in for the perimeter, from where the parking lot comes. And I know there might be a question about, if the clubhouse is successful and activated at that time. This is all material that can be moved and readjusted to where the new parking lot boundaries are. Or if it's not started then and the clubhouse is, if something like that is started, we can just realign the materials to match up with the new design. But either way, that's the look coming in, on a lot of golf courses. That's a good, adjustable, perimeter for fixing that up. So that's what that is.
Thank you, Troy. Next project is the Fairmont Community Center Golf Simulator, which is a recreation project, even though it's a golf item.
This project is to put the golf simulator, I don't know if you guys have ever used one, but inside Fairmont. I know you guys have seen it a couple times on your tours, and we're trying to think of something that would draw on top of the fact that we lost our indoor, our indoor driving range, because we have the second sheet of ice now at River's Edge. So we think it would work twofold. They're really fun, and we think it would just be a good draw during the day, as well as kind of remind people about golf being an option in our area for us.
Our next project is golf beverage carts.
Okay, I'm back. The golf beverage carts is just a simple, we lease carts with our golf fleet periodically, and we just add those two vehicles to our lease currently. But I'm pitching a project that we just go ahead and purchase a couple of them the last several years, the use that they get. And we would definitely get their life out of them by just purchasing a couple. It would just make our lease expense on our golf carts less. And we have a lot of good options to pick from, a lot of good vendors, a lot of good options to choose from to get us a good cart for the longer run. Thank you.
Next is the Green Acres Park Playground replacement.
Hello again. This one's fairly straightforward. So Green Acres Park is roughly 20 years old. It had a useful life of 15 years. So the operations team is quite often going out to do repairs. We've had bolts shear off that we've had to replace. We've had swings that have broken that have had to be replaced. The general wear and tear of the entire playground itself, it needs to be replaced. It's becoming unsafe. It's not at that point quite yet, but it will be soon. So this is a project to replace the entire playground.
Next project, still you, Billy. Pickleball court improvements.
All right, my favorite. So we have a very active pickleball group at Northwest Park. They play every morning. The pickleball courts themselves have not been resurfaced in quite a while. So this project would be to do some upgrades. One would be to fill all the cracks. If you can see in the photo there's some cracks through the center of the pickleball courts. We'll fill those cracks in. We'll resurface the pickleball and tennis. There are 2 tennis courts and I should say 4 pickleball courts in this area, or 6 pickleball courts in this area. So we'll resurface all of those. The area that it's in gets some wind that goes through there, which is tough on a pickleball player because those balls are plastic and very light. So we have some wind screening up now, but the wind screening is getting older, so we'd like to replace that wind screening. And then on the west side of the pickleball courts is a set of trees, but it's not doing a good enough job at stopping the wind. At one time, there was a fence that went across that we had wind screening on. I think that first derecho a few years ago blew that over. So part of this project would be to replace that fence and put wind screening on that as well.
Next project is the recreation trail safety improvements.
This is to give some funding to the new Trails Committee to put signs up, possibly paint some of the trails with ways of monitoring and addressing speed issues that we have for participants and putting up etiquette signs, stuff like that. And it would be probably discussed and advised by that committee as to where we would utilize the funds, but it's also to make sure that we have them so that we can get some of those things in place.
Thank you. Next up is sand volleyball court improvements. Oh, sorry, rugby pitch renovations. Then volleyball, so stay up there, Billy.
Another operations project. So if you weren't aware, we have 4 rugby teams in Davenport. We have the ladies and men's for Palmer, and we also have the QC Irish, which has a ladies and a men's team. They all play on the same rugby pitch, which is down at Centennial Park. Rugby is very tough on turf. So there are a lot of divots in the turf. So many that it can't be top dressed anymore. In the past, we've taken topsoil and spread it over to fill in the holes and try and make a uniform surface. But from flooding and rugby and just use of the field, it needs to be regraded to make it safe for those rugby players. So the rugby pitch would get stripped from the sod now, that's there now, regraded with new topsoil, and then sod laid over the top. So it's safe again for those 4 rugby teams and any other public that would like to use it.
Sand volleyball court improvements.
All right, sticking with the sports theme here. So we also have a very active volleyball group in the Quad Cities. So the volleyball courts at North Jungie, or Jungie North, which is there just off 35th Street, are used quite often. The nets have not been replaced in a while. The sand has not been replaced in a while. The out of bounds ropes are aging and needing to be replaced. So this project would just give a facelift to that volleyball area.
And then the last project is the Slattery Park Playground. That's you, Billy.
You did. All right. Ops is gonna be busy again. I like it. So Slattery Park is similar to the Green Acres Park. It's just a park that has taken a lot of use, and that's a good thing, but along with a lot of use comes needing to be replaced. So it's starting to require more and more maintenance, and it's time to be replaced. It's lived past its useful life. So we're requesting money to put in a new playground there.
Somebody's phone.
Did Jerry leave his phone here?
That's like an iPad.
I think Jerry has a question.
Okay. So that's the final project. We'll open up to any questions you may have on any of them. They'll be happy to answer.
since I'm up
You
here.
might
just
as well
wanna-
stay up there.
I say, since I'm up here, you wanna ask about
Want to
any?
work backwards.
Sure.
My question was about just a general one, both Slattery Park and, which was the other one, Green Acres?
Green Acres?
Are those on the regular, are they here because of the regular playground replacement schedule?
Yeah, I think they were next on the list in age order. We've done a good job in the past, I think, 5 years. We're almost caught up. I think these two and then Lindsay and there's one other that are probably right at the useful life line or a little beyond.
Right, so it's just an age issue. Their useful life is 15 years. We've done the best that we can to repair things as they break, but they're just requiring more and more maintenance, which takes us away from other things that we could be doing. So, since they are past their useful life and they are requiring more maintenance, it's time to replace them.
Sure. On that, I came across the schedule and gave it to Jessica, and I was curious about that. That's why it came up. So it's one of those things that we need to do, and I just wanted to confirm that.
Sure.
So, questions about that? Yes? No? Other questions on those? Are we good with playground and move on?
I think
Okay,
Farrah
yeah.
has a question.
Yeah, please, yeah.
So these, the playgrounds, the replacement, are they gonna be upgraded? Are they, because they're kind of the older ones, as we've mentioned, compared to the other parks. And I know it's not my necessarily area, but are we looking at putting like a splash? It's not the big one, but the small one where you hit the button and it stays on for so long, or just equipment?
Right now, it's just equipment. So, and I would say that since these parks are a certain age, nearly 20 years old, that the playgrounds now are an upgrade from the playgrounds that were 20 years ago. So
Absolutely.
if you look at it that way, yes, it is an upgrade, but as far as water features, no, we do not have
No.
plans for that.
Okay, I'm just curious.
So, and I'll chime in just on sort of our playground procurement process. So once they're identified and funded, we have our dollar amount. What we usually do is issue an RFP for the playground companies to basically give us options based on our pricing and the footprint of the area and various maybe components we are looking for in the playground. So then we usually get 5 to 6 responses from the major playground vendors, and then we take that out for public input. Recently, we've done a pretty good job of getting into adjacent schools near these parks to get youth feedback rather than just adult feedback. And then we score that, and usually that's what determines which playground will be procured. And the kids have been pretty good about being on trend, I guess, with new and innovative stuff in the playground field. So I feel like we've had some different things recently. If you've seen the one at Cork Hill, the one at Tyler, those are all recent replacements that are a little bit different than some of these older models that you see in the park. So it's cool to sort of get a diversity of playground options around the community. But that's how the process works. It's not staff just picks a playground and we put it in. There's a input process with the public that will occur.
Well, with Green Acres, as well as Slattery being out so far from the trending parks, that's why it made me curious is the kind of, and they have space, they have good flat space. So that's why.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
if we were to look to add like a water feature of some sort, we'd have to do that separate from the playground. I know likely next year you may see a new splash pad proposal for Peterson Park because that one's aged and it's little and, cause Cork Hill's been replaced, Goose Creek was upgraded. We've added Dose, so, the one small one remaining is Peterson.
Anything else? Before I step down, I'd like to invite all of you to the party in the park at Sunderbrook Park tonight, 5:30 to 7:30.
1 second.
Right.
Oh,
Just one quick
Sure,
question
Chris.
about the rugby field.
Okay.
Is there any way, is that just something that all rugby fields have to get redone every decade or so? Just, there's not like a technology way of causing the turf to last longer somehow? I don't see how there would be, really.
No, yeah, so it's every sports field really, baseball, football, rugby's particularly tough on turf. The only way that I could see to make it last longer would be to do something like a synthetic field. Iowa State University has a field technology where they have half artificial turf and half actual turf, which makes it last longer and is a little bit less expensive than turf, but if we have to replace it once every 10 years, more cost effective to just do grass.
Okay, it's just kind of a cost of doing business.
Sure.
Other questions? Well, let us move on to other areas. Thank you. Well, let's see. We'll follow through. The first one was on baseball field improvements.
Oh, you have a question on the baseball?
No, I don't know. No, I don't. I'm just asking, that was one also that was, I'm just going from the beginning back. Yeah. Yeah.
No, she's asking if there's any questions.
I was just going through.
Not today. We send out the email link and you score them, and then we compile it. This is just unveiling the slate and answering any questions you may have about the project to help inform your decisions on rating.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, why don't we're going to zoom through. I agree with that, yeah. So do we have other questions about baseball field improvements? What about bocce ball improvements? I've not played bocce ball. Have any of you been into bocce ball? No. Sounds
Wednesday nights,
interesting.
you could try it out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's super fun and easy to do.
When I saw, personally, let's move to digital sign upgrade. You know, when I saw that, I wondered if you're going to add other signs, but it's just getting current signs at this point? Or have you discussed other locations? Yeah, okay.
So just to clarify, the digital signs, that is just replacing two existing signs that are in high-traffic areas. One thing I also failed to mention was in terms of in bringing it up to date in technology, it will be cellular-based instead of right now, we have a radio transmitter, which means we have to be on-site with our radio feeder connected to a laptop. And this would allow us to be web-based, cloud-based, and it's a cellular connection at the sign, so we can actually be anywhere and be able to update the signs.
That's a good piece of information. But have you thought about other locations? I know this is the first step, but are there other places you would be doing that?
Yes, we have actually talked about the potential of even repurposing these signs potentially, if their technology is allowable, and possibly having them over near the river's edge, because we could hardwire into the facility versus needing to rely on the radio transmitters. But we've got some more exploring to do on that. We've also talked about Duck Creek Park along Locust as well. And then potentially, we've investigated Prairie Heights area.
I would support those. Arcel, do you have a question? Yes.
Maybe I missed this because I was late, but how does this play into the future of that area?
You mean Annie-Witt?
Yeah, anyway.
So this sign is located just outside of the pool, which is not part of the upper portion is being conveyed. So no impact at all with that, yeah.
Other questions? You move on? The parking lot fence, I don't visualize that, so I'm kind of, you mentioned cedar, so is that what it currently is made out of, or?
Yeah, I think it's currently like an old, very old oak fence
Okay.
or some type of regular wood. And like I said, it's been in the ground for more than 30, 40 years, so it's like starting to rot at the post, and it's gonna need to be replaced with some material or by some project, one way or the other.
Thank you. Other questions? Arcel?
I've got another one on this one. Is it necessary with the future clubhouse?
Yeah, I touched on it where like, yeah, we'll still need security, a perimeter
Yeah.
for separating parking lot and, activities from coming into the golf course and from carts going out when we lock up and gate off. Any fence that we would do would be adjustable to the new plan. Like, especially if it's a cedar fence, we can actually just take it out and put it into into the new perimeter. Or if the one plan's ahead of the other, we'll wait and put it on the new perimeter.
Okay. Is it to the point that we can't wait till the new clubhouse?
Yeah, and there's no timeline, no timeline certain on the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And the fence is starting to fall down, so it's like we could put it up now right where it is, and it still wouldn't be much to adjust it to where it needs to go later.
Okay.
Moving on to the golf simulator at Fairmount. My question is, the picture is dark, and that whole facility is glass. So what, have you talked about that?
Yeah, well, the price of that we put in there does include, net walls and, on top of it, so that it would protect the walls.
Okay.
But there's plenty of light. The light doesn't affect the thing.
Using this,
It's like a booth.
Because it's almost like a booth, yeah.
oh, okay.
It would be, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but, it would probably look exactly like that, whereas the picture part would be on the back wall, where, that's solid.
We would have to tear down.
Yeah, it would be tear down and put up, just like, kind of like we do now, depending on, we would probably do it like 3 days a week that you can come in and do it.
Yeah, it's not a permanent installation.
It's not a permanent, and it doesn't take that much to
We
put up.
set up, tear down as we use it, need it.
Have we had participant or user who used to do the golf at River's Edge? What happened when it wasn't available this year? That would be,
Yeah, I don't think we got too many comments or pushback.
yeah.
That was mostly like an activity or just something that they could do in the wintertime. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of indoor places to hit balls now. This would be an option for them too. But it was mostly just a time killer and it made us a little money on the side.
Well, there was good traffic many times
Absolutely.
down there. Yeah, thank you.
In general, most of the people coming in from customer service perspective, most of them came in and were supportive of the fact that we were able to do a second sheet of ice.
Good.
They thought that it was a good move for the facility. They were bummed that they couldn't hit some balls, but in general, it was pretty supportive.
Well, we've got other questions. Faith?
So my question is this location and especially this setup and tear down, is it gonna have to be staffed as well?
The building is gonna be staffed
It is.
at all times that it's gonna be open, yeah. Just due to the nature of the building
Yeah, the
and,
glass.
so we don't see it, it would be something to actually help draw at times when it wouldn't necessarily be stuff to do there at the building.
So it wouldn't be, and you wouldn't need, I guess.
I wouldn't need additional staff
Additional,
for it,
that's what I was
correct.
meaning, so,
Yes.
okay, all right, that was it.
Krista?
Can you hear me? I think this is amazing. People love this.
Yeah, I do.
The simulator is really popular. It's becoming more and more popular, especially if you really want to work on your swing in a small area or you don't want to be outside. It's so hot. So I think that's a really good idea. I also want to ask, are we planning on putting arcade games in at River's Edge too? Because it would be so cool to have like a small little arcade area. That'd bring in people, you know?
At River's Edge, we have some games.
We have some
but
games at River's Edge. At Fairmont, I think we're
At
sort of
Fairmont,
space
yeah, there's not
restricted.
really enough space for
But
that.
we can see, I mean, the big thing is we haven't operated it yet, so there's still unknowns. But that could be a potential to bring some games into Fairmont as well.
Yeah, it depends on the age that we, I mean, with that, what we are going to see regularly. In the beginning, we're kind of shooting in the dark, so to speak, but as we kind of track what kind it is, then we'll probably more target and adjust our activities accordingly.
I think like a brochure box for the golf course might be interesting.
For sure. Yeah, for sure
Wave
with this.
people over to the golf course.
Yeah, and it's really close. I mean, it's relatively close to EMI, so I feel like that, it would be a good fit. I think it'll be a good fit.
Anthony, you had a question?
Yeah, a two-part question. I wasn't aware that there was a simulator at River's Edge, so I guess my question was it permanently set up down there? And then the second.
It wasn't a simulator down there. It was an indoor driving range
Okay.
that you just hit real live balls. That would not be really,
Okay.
these are specific for this and would be the only option in that particular
Right.
building.
And then I guess second question would be, is there a possibility or another location where this could be permanently set up? I'm just curious about the setup and tear down. I don't know what all would go into that, but I know that these are pretty,
Elaborate.
it's an intense setup. There's a lot of technology and the netting. So I was just curious if there was other options. And I know that down the road, it's not up yet, but like the EMI's clubhouse, if that would be an option or something like that.
I would just think space would be the issue of that. We don't right now have a lot of,
If we're
Space.
successful here, yeah, we can explore. And the clubhouse, actually, we've had discussions that is something First Tee would like to pursue, would be a simulator of some sort within their space that could be permanently set up and not only used by First Tee, but the general public too. The one thing about simulators, I think you have to have a relatively high ceiling. So if you're looking at like Roosevelt, for example, we're sort of restricted in that space. And River's Edge, we don't really have a room anymore that could accommodate it. It's since we converted to a second sheet of ice and additional office spaces, so. But yeah, we can look at that.
Ready to move on?
it's mobile too. I mean, once we have it within our system, if we find a better place for it, we
Yeah,
definitely would be able to move
that's a
it.
good point.
Thanks, Teresa. The question about the golf beverage carts, is there any question about that? We've already talked about playground, pickleball court improvements, questions there. My question was something I asked earlier. If we're updating and improving, has there been any discussion about evening lighting in that area at night? The reason I'm saying that is I live next to, near Kiwanis and Bettendorf Pickleball, and there isn't that ability to do so. I don't know if it'd be chaos or what, but I thought, something to think about. So,
We haven't talked about putting lighting up. That would be something that we would definitely have to talk to the residents about. I can see residents being upset with the noise of the all night long.
well, there would be a
so-
time frame, you know, that,
Yeah.
but of all the places there are pickleball courts, there's space. It's not immediately next across the street
Yeah.
from houses, you know, residential.
Yeah, we
But,
haven't talked about lighting.
yeah,
That's
well,
something we can look into.
I just don't, it might be
I am
something.
sure that the pickleballers would,
I think they
be on
would love
board.
it, but just a thought, and it's still with me.
Sure.
Questions? Yeah, Marcel?
sorry, Marcel?
Do we have any programming around the pickleball courts?
As of right now, I don't believe so.
We do some like drop-in activity, like we work with the pickleball group and we'll do like, I'll teach you how to do it and bring equipment and stuff like that. but right now it's fairly utilized regularly, that it's not really like we need to draw. We are in the conversation with them about having like a beginner day where people really know, like if they've never done it, that they could go without being intimidated. So
I live 2 blocks north and they're constantly
it's
used.
just so
It's awesome.
It's hard when it's so
I love
utilized,
it.
it's not like it feels like it's a need, but except like I have brought people there that have never played and are a little intimidated. So I did talk to Cole about working with them to do more of those.
And I love that they're used, but I think it doesn't give opportunity to people that do want to,
Right.
right? Like there are regulars, there's no doubt, from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way till sunset. That thing is just, you hear the back and forth, which I don't mind, but I think to Wendy's point, lighting could bring,
Sure.
and I think those courts are far enough that residents would not mind, except for on the immediate corner there, but
Sure.
I think the lighting is a good idea.
Yeah, and I can say the folks that use it right now are very competitive, so I can see how that would intimidate some beginners. I should say we do have some new pickleball courts, coming soon to Duck Creek Park as well, which is on the east side of town, so that might thin it out a little bit, but it's yet to be seen.
I mean, it's an evolution right now in
Sure.
the whole country, so.
Exactly. Thank you.
Anything else on pickleball?
The next item that was discussed was recreation trail safety improvements. Do we have questions about that? Or want more detail?
What's your question?
Right now, I don't have a question, but, yeah.
Do we know who's gonna be monitoring the speed traps? That we might be implementing on the trail, because I see speed tracking here, and I was like, what's gonna come of this?
I think it's gonna be similar to litter initiatives or no smoking in the parks. It would probably be monitored by the users as a way of
Reminding them.
the environment and some things to remind people to do those things.
And we don't know where we're really implementing them?
No, that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to track, like usage and the high problem areas. And that's something that we're hoping that this group kind of does, is to kind of puts into place some ways of evaluating where would be the highest places for us to do that. And because there's a variety of users are being made up of that group, where they think would be the best places to start putting those. And then if they are effective and
that's brilliant.
making somewhat of a difference, then we would expand that.
Thank you.
We had some discussion about the rugby pitch renovations. Do you have other questions following that discussion? It's pretty clear, I need to go down and walk and just see, but I've watched them move around, and, yeah, it's a busy place, and,
They are fun to watch. I mean, it's an active group and they're good at it, so, it is exciting to watch them, so if you like,
and then the sand volleyball you had spoken about. Is there questions about sand volleyball that, I think age is one for, I say, right on, get it up to date. But our question,
Yep. How many sand volleyball courts do we have total?
there are 3 in that
Three.
location, yes,
3 in that one, and all 3 would be repaired?
yes.
Okay.
And that is actually another area that we are looking to program more.
Okay.
There are individual groups that utilize them now. I mean, they're used, but we are actually looking to expand and do some youth volleyball, in which case we would probably also want to program sometimes in the summer.
What's the cost look like to build one versus the improvement cost here?
Not much difference, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
we're replacing the same sand, replacing the netting, replacing the roping. The only thing that we're not replacing are the metal posts. So, it would be a minimal add to add more, I guess. Or to completely tear them out and put new ones in. So basically, by renovating them, we are putting brand new ones in other than the posts, so.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up, is there an option to put it at another park? Take some
Oh,
funds? take some funds out of this and put another sand volleyball court in another park?
There's a possibility, yeah.
I just see good traffic at Northwest Park,
Yeah.
as in people just bringing their own net and setting it up in that field right next to the pickleball courts on a weekly basis at this point.
Arsenal, if you'll lead the charge with that neighborhood on that field, we're right behind you.
I think you get Tim involved. Is there some?
We are tentative to do anything in that area, given recent neighborhood disgruntlement. But we would love to have discussions about, there's a need for additional parking because of the
huge
Little
need.
League, and that could be an area that could be looked at, or more active use, sand volleyball, something like that. There used to, years ago, we had a soccer field manicured in there, and the neighbors complained that were adjacent, said people were, I think,
Yeah.
using their backyards for bathrooms and other things, so we took that field out. But yeah, I mean, I think there's space there, opportunities. We just need to be sensitive to the neighbors and make sure we talk to them up front before any improvements are done, so. As you're aware of.
Sorry,
Yeah.
so you're telling me I should take the lead on this?
Well, you're second ward, right?
Yeah. I saw what happened when the last time, so we'll see.
Was there not a volleyball equipment or net in Garfield?
There is the.
Yes. Huh? Oh, okay, that's the one. All right, good. I didn't look at that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Well, that
Sorry,
is, I guess what I would say at this point is now it's time for us to look, and if other questions surface, what I would do is contact the persons, the staff members who spoke to these projects and get more information. I think that would be a thing that would be the best to do. Like I missed the word Garfield, so I'll go back and read it in more detail, yes. So the process, as you have looked at, is at our next meeting, will we have an opportunity or a review time as an agenda item?
A review of,
Well,
I don't follow your question.
I didn't know if it would come up again as just a review to get us going or just scoring the projects. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so
one of those things.
so at the end of the packet, so the next step is we'll email you out the link, or it's already been sent out. And then you guys can rank your projects, 1 being highest, 15 being the lowest. And then submit. If you have additional questions in the meantime, want clarification, just reach out directly to me, would be the easiest. And then we'll compile the scores, then we take those scores and take that same survey, send that out to council, because they like to see how you guys scored and what you guys prioritize. And then they score, and then what we do is we bring, based on the 2 scores combined, we bring a final slate back to you sometime in September for approval. And I guess that would be your last opportunity then to question any project that may have ranked out or ask any additional questions before that slate is approved.
Thank you. We will move on to staff reports. Yes? And first is Chris reporting on the Riverfront Improvement Commission. Thank you.
Yes, the Riverfront Commission got a pretty good presentation on the Main Street Landing progress, because they hadn't seen the same pictures that we got to see, and so Clay Merritt presented to them about kind of where that's at, and even since then, a few more renderings have come out in the media and stuff. So it's coming along, and then I know in the next couple months, there'll be more of a final, like, design construction documents or whatever that I think we'll all be able to see. I know there's a lot of talk about having some sort of the ability for this group to like, and the Riverfront Improvement Commission to like have a letter or resolution of support for getting it done. So I don't know if that's still happening, but I know at least one alderman's pushing for that. And otherwise, it was mostly lease stuff, and then a fair amount of talk about the flood as far as rescheduling Red, White, and Boom. They delayed a couple cruise stops and took out the boat docks. There's all the usual stuff that has to be done when the flood comes. So, yeah, that was pretty much it for the Riverfront meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Chris? You did receive the written staff report, and so are there questions or additional information needed on your part? I hear none. Chad, you're on. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, that's perfect, because I'm going to follow up on what Chris was talking about.
Okay.
We are working to, at the August meeting, our August meeting will likely be a joint meeting with the Riverfront Improvement Commission to present on Main Street Landing. I suggested we use our normal time because we usually don't have a lot of business in August. And rather than trying to get two boards scheduled on an off date that at least we're already normally meeting that day, I think I'm just waiting to hear back from Director Merritt or Stephanie on confirmation that Riverfront Improvement is good with that. So they're good with that. At the August meeting, it'll be a joint meeting with you guys and Riverfront Improvement, and Clay and Zach Peterson and myself will present on Main Street Landing. From there, the intention is to, it will be on the August 20th council work session. Their Tuesday management update meetings. And then from there, we're at like 90% construction documents. So the next thing would then be formal council action on the approval of plans and specs and documents on a regular council cycle. So with the intent to start construction, to bid this and have construction start yet this year, likely October. So more to come. You'll get an email from either I or Jessica. We'll likely meet in the community room in the police department because it's bigger. If that meeting lines up. So other than that, party in the park tonight is at Sunderbrook. Billy stole my thunder. Also, the final party in the park will be August 8th at Cork Hill. So the last two parties in the park. If you haven't been by, we had the ribbon cutting and dedication of the Dose Splash and Play. So that project is officially open and has had lots of great comments and feedback. If you haven't been down there, please go check it out. It's by Hayes Elementary, the former Dose pool site. We had an ARPA project that converted to a splash pad and a play area. The multi-sport courts are nearing completion. I believe they were striping them today, which was sort of the final thing we have to install the basketball courts after that, or hoops standards. And we've got some good feedback on those as well. And then the last two ARPA-related projects is the Cork Hill Splash Pad, which is under construction now, and hopefully will be done in time for Party in the Park. And then the EMICE Inclusive Playground is finalizing design, and we'll hopefully have the construction portion of that bid out here, and probably won't see that till next spring complete. But they may get some work done yet this fall on that project. So, and then there was one, Fairmount, the community center, which we referenced, is nearing completion. We've had some back and forth challenges with the contractor. We will do sort of a soft opening for the remainder of the summer. We're anticipating hopefully having it complete by the end of July, and then full programming come with our fall slate of programs, and then we'll be operating it on a normal basis with the fall, like around Labor Day. That's the intent. So that is all I have for you.
That's a lot that's been happening. It's been a very busy, busy, busy summer, and the flood didn't help keeping people on pace. So that is greatly appreciated, and we've got lots of information again to deal with. We now have a brief time for advisory time. Are there suggestions for future meetings or what other details? Krista? Yeah.
I love those multi-sports courts. They're awesome. I saw 2 families playing soccer together, and it made me really happy because they weren't even done. So I was like, I know they're gonna be big. I know they're gonna be big. And then I was like, where's the hoops? So you just answered that. And the only thing I really have to suggest is, I was really excited about that library walkthrough, but then to see it installed, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of lacking something. Maybe it's just because it's faded so fast and then people smashed them. I know, it's sad. I should have expected them going in. I was like, no, I don't know. Do we know when the library is going to install more media on those? Do we know?
They are reordering the book right now, so that we can get the replacement pages put in. And their plan is that quarterly they would swap out books at all 3 locations. We still have 2 more park locations that we're gonna be installing story walks in.
Oh, okay.
You know what she's talking about? Okay, great, great. I have something I wanted to share. When I first came on to the council, one of the members who recently died was Maureen Lemke, and I wanted to make sure that we say thank you for all that she did. She was one lively person, if you know anything about Maureen, but she loved, and when I saw Slattery Park new playground equipment, she would be jumping up and down because it is something that she loved and cherished was Slattery Park. So she was a precious lady, and I want to say to her family, we appreciate all she did for Parks and Rec. Thank you. Anything else that we want to bring up? If not, it is time. We only have 2 minutes to get to Party in the Park. It opens at 5:30. And it's cool tonight, and I do have bug spray. If you're there and you need a little buzz, I will have it with me. So I hope to see some of you there and enjoy our time now, between now and our next meeting. And have a good evening and the rest of July, and soon school will be in session. It's so short. So thanks, everybody. Oh, yes, hello, hello, I'm ready to walk out. I think I did that last year. So we can't leave now, we only have a minute. But please, a motion to adjourn will be accepted here at this time.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Those saying yes for this motion, say so now.
Yes.
Yes, aye. Thank you so much.